Welcome to the regular council meeting of Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 at 4:40 p.m. in council chambers and via Zoom. We acknowledge that the town of Kirkland Lake is located on the traditional territory of Algonquin peoples, including Beaver House First Nation and unceded territory. Okay, that's okay. Other Indigenous peoples. We recognize the presence of the Algonquin, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Cree, and Métis people in our community since time immemorial and honor their stewardship and care of these lands. We hereby affirm our continued commitment and responsibility to reconciliation. Call to order in a moment of silence. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Shava.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 be approved as circulated.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest. No items noted. Item number 4, petitions and delegations. There are none this evening. Item number 5, acceptance of minutes and recommendations. 5.1, council minutes. May I have a mover? Councillor Owen, seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that council approve the minutes of the following meeting. Minutes of the regular meeting of council held January 21st, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 5.2, local and regional board minutes. Mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Kiley.
Be it resolved that council receive the minutes of the following meetings. Minutes of the Kirkland Lake Public Library Board held November 21st, 2024. Minutes of the Temiskaming Municipal Association held January 23rd, 2025. And minutes of the District of Temiskaming Social Services Administration Board of Directors held December 18th, 2024.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 6, reports of municipal officers and communications. 6.1, may I have a mover? Councillor Dyken, seconded by Councillor Ranger, sorry.
Be it resolved that the verbal report entitled 2025 Roma Annual Conference Delegations be received for information.
Thank you. This is a verbal update and it will be delivered by Alan Smith, CAO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, to the council. So from January 19th to 21st, I attended the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference. Roma is the rural voice of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, or AMO. My first delegation was to administer infrastructure. 4 briefings were presented, which falls into 3 categories. First, infrastructure, then flood mitigation, and third, climate change. With respect to the first, I discussed the importance of having the minister's support with respect to our application to the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund. I stressed the need for the upgrading of our water infrastructure to help support current needs of residents and for future development. This application was for $13.2 million. I also stressed to the minister that we need to continue with the exploration of current water infrastructure systems for studies and inspection of camera work. This was an ask of $2 million. Next, I explained to the minister the flooding issues that certain parts of Kirkland Lake are susceptible to, which was heightened with the flood on April 12th of last year. To mitigate the flooding issues, significant work would need to be undertaken, which would help make our community safe for residents and visitors. And finally, the 4th briefing spoke to the preference to the decommissioning of the McTavish pumping station and replacing with a valve nest to which mobile pumps could easily be connected when needed. This would provide the town with the ongoing ability to recharge Gull Lake while limiting the operational costs of maintaining a pump house. I received one answer to these 4 briefings. Apply to the new health and safety water stream, which was going to be announced that afternoon. The Minister Surma did mention that we would hear back regarding our use application shortly. And as council is aware, we were originally notified the town was not successful with our second round application. I then delegated to the Minister of Natural Resources regarding concerns around the lack of rain monitoring system for the town. which became evident during the April 12th flood. Minister Smith indicated that the regional manager would be calling to arrange a meeting on accessing information from the surface monitoring data sets from Peterborough. I'm currently in conversation with the regional manager, arranging a meeting with myself and some of my staff. Overall, Roma is an excellent opportunity to delegate to the various ministries, network with colleagues, and of course, attend some informative seminars. I welcome any questions.
Anything from members of council? Nothing noted, Madam Clerk? Do we need the motion read again? Oh, sorry, Councillor Kylie. Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you, sir. Item 6.2, 2024-2025 Mobile Crisis Response Team Enhancement Grant. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 Corp 006 entitled 2024-2025 Mobile Crisis Response Team MCRT Enhancement Grant be received, and that the mayor and municipal clerk be authorized to execute a transfer payment agreement and any related amendments proposed in favor of the municipality without detrimental financial impact with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, as represented by the Ministry of the Solicitor General for funding under the Mobile Crisis Response Team Enhancement Grant. And finally, that an execution bylaw be brought forward for 3 readings on February 18th, 2025.
Thank you. We'll welcome Sean LeCart, Director of Corporate Services. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. There, the council. And this will be a similar report we would have saw last year. We had for 23-24. We have a report to provide information on the granting funding available by entering into a transfer payment agreement with the Ontario Solicitor General through the 2024-25 Mobile Crisis Response Team Enhancement Grant. On June 2024, we sent in the application. The application was done in collaboration with the Canadian Mental Health Association and the Kirkland Lake Detachment, BP. The funds flow through the CMHC, a Cochrane Temiskaming Branch Kirkland Lake office, and support the team by funding 1.5 FTE of mental health workers. The CMHC mental health workers accompany Kirkland Lake OPP and conduct follow-up care to support area residents in mental health crisis. And the program supports or increased the full-time equivalent count of crisis mental health workers on existing MCRTs, which are in place. The funding supports ongoing need for more mental health assistance on phone calls for service and better local health expertise. The funding for 2024-25 has been approved, and you'll see the transfer payment agreement attached for $137,869.16. It is 100% funded. Comes in 2 installments: $103,401 and then $34,467 at a later date. And the administration recommends that council support the project by entering into the transfer payment agreement. Just so you know, we have submitted the next application that follows up the 25, 26, 27 year. We just did it a week and a half ago, so that one's in place as well. So open any questions.
Thank you. Questions from members of council? Councillor Owen.
It's not a question, it's a comment, if that's okay, Your Worship. Through you, Your Worship, I just want to say how important this program is. The OPP in recent years have dedicated quite a bit of resources to training their officers to deal with mental health crisis. But they are not professionals at that job. What this does is it sends out an expert, someone who's actually trained to deal with the person in crisis, and can often see them get the help they need as opposed to being put in jail for assaulting an officer or whatever. And this is as someone who has experienced my mental health crises in my own life, I realize how important the service is. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? Councillor Ranger.
Through you, Madam Mayor. It's not a question, it's a statement. As Councillor Owen said, I'm happy that we can apply for these extra funds. Every fund when it comes to mental health we need to access for our community. And thank you so much to your team and for taking extra steps to make sure that the next application is ready to go. So council really, I want to speak on behalf of everybody, but council really appreciates the work you guys do. So thank you.
Counselor Shabbat.
Thank you through you, Madam Chair, to the director. I'm looking at this 1.5 FTE. Are they specific to Kirkland Lake area or for the whole district? To the workers, that you said on the paragraph. Yeah.
As far as I know, it's for the area. There's a certain catchment area that it includes, but it is in the area.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Do we need the reading of the motion again? No? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you, sir. 6.3 Annual Municipal Accommodation Tax Update. May I have a mover? Counselor Kylie and seconded by Counselor Dykens.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 BEB 5 entitled Annual Municipal Accommodations Tax Update be received for information.
Thank you. And it is Director of Development and Enterprise Services, Mr. Dan Laverdure, that will be presenting. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, through you, Madam Mayor, to the rest of council. Before you have the annual MAT tax update report, you've normally would get one quarterly. This is, we've come now through the full year with the MAT tax. As you can see from the chart within the report, we've collected $293,115 in MAT tax. There is a small amount of $1,848 that's been carried through to 2025 to be collected. Moving forward in 2025, we're going to continue to work with short-term accommodators in the community. But as I've said in previous quarters, we are having a good uptick in participation. We're thrilled to be working on the annual budget for the Tourism Corporation currently that will be presented later on with the municipal budget. The dollars will help shape the exciting tourism enhancements that the Economic Development and Tourism Strategic Plan has outlined. We will have more to come when the budget is tabled. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Before I open the table, I just want to thank, of course, the director and his team. This has exceeded expectations. And I cannot wait to start using these funds to assist Kirkland Lake in the tourism and development sectors. We should be very, very proud of ourselves as a community because these accommodation providers are really doing us a service. And in turn, we will be able to provide more services for our community. So just congratulations all around. Councilor Ranger.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Dan, will we as councilors be able to see prior to the budget, the plan, so that we have some time to review it?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to council, we will be tabling it. There will be an outline of the budget being presented. The final budget then would go to the Tourism Development Corporation, but it does get screened through the council.
Thank you. No follow-up? Okay. Councilor Shabbat.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. To you, Director, I'm reading your in your discussion, one of the paragraphs indicated that payment is due no later than the last day of the following month. So now looking up here, we have arrears of about $1,800. So do we have any deterrents in place for people, for us not to have protracted arrears? I mean, if it's due a month after, then you should have received that money now. So that not being the case. So what deterrents do we have? What mechanism do we have so that we don't have a protracted arrears? Because I mean, if you don't have, say, maybe that 2% or something like that, or something anyways, then you may have other people saying, well, hey, he hasn't remade his full amount, so I can do the same thing too. So is there any mechanism in the future that will actually preclude having so much arrears, so much outstanding? Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. The billing of the MAT tax goes through the standard billing for them as the municipality. So it would be subject to the same penalties as any other amount owing through the municipality.
Follow up?
Can I follow up to Madam Chair? Have you communicated that to these establishments? Are they aware of?
Through Madam Mayor, they are when they are sent their invoices every month.
Thank you. Counselor Owen?
Yes, through you, your worship. First off, I want to thank you for sticking to your guns on getting the mat in place, because you faced all sorts of opposition during the previous council. You were told 1,000 different reasons why it couldn't and wouldn't happen, and that it was impossible, but you never gave up because you believed it was good for the community. And I want to thank the director for putting it in place, for saying, this is no big deal, we can do it. Also, I'm gonna put out a really far out suggestion here, but I'm looking at the high percentage of collection. So I'm thinking the director and his team should be put into the tax collection department. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? Do we need the reading of the motion again? Perfect. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you very much. Item number 7, consideration of notices of motion. There are none this evening. Item number 8, introduction, reading, and consideration of bylaws. 8.1 bylaw number 25-004. May I have a mover? Counselor Owens, seconded by Counselor Ranger. Owens, okay, sorry.
That's my fault.
No, you do.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2504, being a bylaw authorizing the execution of the extension agreement with JL Richards and Associates Limited for planning contracted services.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 8.2, bylaw number 25-005. May I have a mover? Counselor Kylie, seconded by Counselor Shabbat.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2505, being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing for current expenditures for 2025.
All in favor? All in favor? Thank you. Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 9, questions from council to staff. There were none submitted prior to this meeting. Item number 10, notices of motion. Counselor Owen.
Through you, your worship, at the next meeting, I will be presenting a motion concerning the asking staff to investigate the possibility of installing a traffic mirror at what I call the Toronto Bellevue intersection. And it's a safety motion for both pedestrians and vehicles.
Thank you for that. Anything further? Counselor Shabbat.
Yeah, I believe I would send this in, but the next meeting, I will be having an initial motion in regards to potential traffic lights at the intersection of Governor and Allen Avenue.
Gentlemen. Sorry, proceed, Counselor.
That's all.
And it was the street light at Allen and Government.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Anything further? Okay, thank you. Item number 11, councilors' reports. Do any council members have any events, news, or topics to discuss? Counselor Dykens?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to all of council. Last week, I attended a meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Committee. Our director, Dan, brought us up to date with respect to development happening in our town. I'd like to highlight one in particular. As you recall, in 2024, council approved the sale of land on Orchard Drive to Keepers of the Circle, which is a hub of the Temiskaming Women's Health or Home Support Group for their project of building panel homes. Last week, some of you may have noticed, but approximately 5 acres of land was cleared in order to begin building 2 buildings. One is the factory where the panel homes will be built, And then there'll be an administration building, I believe it's called. They'll have offices, boardrooms, a dormitory, so, employees who may come from other parts of the province and need a place to live, they'll have a place for them to stay, and also daycare for employees who have children, make it easier for them to maintain their employment. So currently, as we heard before, a handful of women are off in different parts to learn various skills related to the building of the homes. And the hope is they'll come back and lead in that part of the building of the homes, but also to lead in the training of others. The really good news is that it's a winter build. They're not going to wait till the weather's good. They're going to continue. Just so that we can remember, the project is worth approximately $20 million. And I think this is good for keepers of the circle. It's good for those who will be employed. It'll be good for those who will be purchasing these low-cost homes, and it's good for the town of Kirkland Lake. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Owen.
Yes, your worship. I recently attended the Temiskaming Municipal Association meeting. MPP, well, actually technically he's not the MPP right now. John Van Toff made a presentation on behalf of his road safety campaign. Normally, he wouldn't have done that during the election, but he was invited before the election was called. He's recently held a couple of town hall meetings on Facebook. And what he told the group was, after 13 years of pushing and pushing and pushing for various things to make roads in Northern Ontario safe, Southern Ontario just doesn't care, basically. Under Minister Mulroney, they were making some progress. Under the current minister, who lives in Brampton, he could care less. That's the impression I was given. So they've changed their tactics now, and they're going to go after one of many improvements. They're going to go after push so that all transport drivers must get their license through a drive test facility. That means that no longer will driving schools, quote unquote, be able to issue licenses, and no longer will community colleges be able to issue licenses. And that's what, we'll see if he gets reelected. But the other thing that was of interest to Kirkland Lake is the executive of TMA recommended that municipalities pay another $25 to be members. So that would take in the fee from $150 to $175. There was one member there who had done her research and said, but why? Because your bank account's been at 10,000 for X number of years, roughly. And the answer was, well, we're thinking about doing educational things like we did prior to COVID. So at which point I told them, spend your 10,000 first and then come back and see me. That they did not have the full support of Kirkland Lake Council to be a member of the TMA, and I would not take back a recommendation. The motion was soundly defeated by the membership. And now for the bad news. Our DSAB rates are going up considerably this year. 5.42%. It's probably the longest discussion and most thorough discussion that I've had at a DSAB meeting. I think you would concur, Patrick. It was thoroughly discussed. For those, well, Casey and Stacy and myself, when we got elected on our first term, the town had gone 10 years with 0% increase. Well, DSAB's kind of at that tipping point now. Last year we had 0, and if you look historically, we've had 1-2%. So we could have gone with a lesser percentage increase, but that would have resulted in a much bigger increase next year. So in the end, both Pat and I voted in favor of this. And as council, remember last year, DSAB refunded us some money out of their reserves because they had more than their policy called for. And I believe that that should cover the increase. If not, it won't be a significant increase. So it's similar to what Casey brought to us last year from the health unit. And we had the money to cover it, so. I think that's it.
Counselor Kylie?
Through you, your worship, I attended DSAP with Rick as noted. One of the presentation was on homelessness. And I'm gonna just bore you with a couple of numbers here. Homelessness has increased by 51% since 2018. Although we don't see it as much in Kirkland Lake, other parts of the northern Ontario have a significant increase. There's 268,000 households on a waiting list for rent geared to income within the province. Without action in Northern Ontario, homelessness would reach 10,674 to 26,633 by 2035, which is a pretty scary amount, a lot higher than I thought it would be. For the province, would be 294,266 by 2035 unless significant intervention takes place. Our DSAP is certainly doing our part in reducing homelessness. It's been a bit of a struggle. We haven't had a lot of issues in Kirkland Lake, but the tri-towns have suffered through it a bit. That's my report.
Thank you, sir. Anything further for members of council? Councillor Owens?
Madam Mayor, last week I participated in the first regular meeting of Northeastern Public Health. It is definitely an adjustment going from district board to Northeastern Ontario board, because we do cover a huge chunk of Northeastern Ontario, and there are definitely different or divergent opinions from one end of Northeastern Ontario to the other. The one good news is that we now have a finance committee, so budget deliberations are starting, somewhat behind where we were last year. But because through the merger process, we got everything we wanted, we can hope, fingers crossed, that there shouldn't be any huge surprises from Northeastern Public Health budget when we get the final figures, so. To be continued.
For that. For members of council. Okay. Since the last meeting I attended on January 14th, I saw to the following responsibilities of the office of the mayor. The annual flag raising for Alzheimer's awareness on January 14th. Fellow member 15th, not 14th, sorry. Fellow members of council and staff will be given the opportunity to receive training around this important topic as arranged by the clerk's office and Alzheimer's Society sometime in the future. I attended the meeting with community partners, CAO, and Director of Enterprise Services and Development Services to discuss future housing development planning. I am hopeful we will see the opportunity presented at council table sooner than later. CAO Smith, Director of Enterprise Services, and myself met with members of Matachewan First Nation and their Director of Finance and Administration, and we hope to gather all members of both councils after their elections and our budget process are completed. So that will be a new development in our history. I took part in the Terry Fox live stream this morning. And though we're all familiar with this Canadian icon, it is hard for me to fathom that this year marks the 45th anniversary of the Marathon of Hope. I too share in Terry's dream of a world without cancer. I want to thank Councillor Janice Ranger for stepping into acting mayor position to chair the last council meeting, and to CAO, who represented the community when I could not, and when fellow members of council were unavailable. So thank you to you all. Mover to accept reports. Councillor Shaba and Councillor Dykens as seconder.
Be it resolved that the verbal updates from members of council be received.
All in favor? Opposed? Item unanimous. Item number 12, additional information, there is none. Item number 13 will be closed session, and we shall recess now for 10 minutes. Thank you, everyone. We'll now rise from recess to move into close. May I have a mover? Councillor Dykens, and seconded by Councillor Ranger.
Be it resolved that council adjourn in camera pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board and a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board at 5:26 PM for the following reasons. Item 13.1, proposed request for offers on the following surplus land: 170 Balsam Avenue, 272 Balsam Avenue, 37 Main Street, 49 Main Street, 5 Tech Mining Claim L1829, Park Reference Plan, Part 25 of TER 384, Parcel 9827 CST, and Tech Mining Claim L829 in parts 1 and 2, and of Plan 54R 1800, Parcel 11080 CST, identified as the old tennis courts and adjacent property on Duncan Avenue North. And item 13.2, request to lease Park Mining Claim L2678 Peltier.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried. Okay, we will now reconvene. May I have a mover? Councillor Dykens, seconded by Councillor Ranger.
Be it resolved that council reconvene in open session at 5:59 PM.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried. Item number 14, matters from closed session. Request for offer various municipal service lands. May I have a mover? Councillor Dykens, and seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 EV6 entitled Proposed Request for Offer on Various Municipal Surplus Lands be received, that council authorize the publication of a request for offer for the following surplus lands: 70 Balsam Avenue, 72 Balsam Avenue, 7 Main Street, 9 Main Street, and Tech Mining Claim L1829. I will not read the legal description. And Tech Mining Claim L829. Identified as the old tennis courts and adjacent property on Duncan Avenue North. And finally, that a supplemental report, including all applications of interest, be presented in camera on April 1st, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 15, confirmation bylaw number 25-006. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, and seconded by Councillor Shaba.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read and numbered passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and is sealed the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2506, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Tuesday, February 4th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 16, adjournment moved by Councillor Dykens.
Yes.